The Outlaw and His Wife, another
Good
film from Victor Sjöström. Victor
Showstrom.
Sjöström. This is another one of his family man goes to jail with a good heart, goes to jail. He is struck
Yeah,
with tragedy and then turns gray and becomes a shell of themselves movies.
correct. Yeah, very similar to the last one. I mean, this is based, I guess, loosely on a true story from
Mm-hmm.
19th century Iceland, and it's another kind of folk tale-y kind of story where he's taking an
Yeah.
existing thing and dramatizing it. Weird that I did not pick up on all of those similarities, though. It is, yeah, very very similar in a lot of ways to his last movie, or the last
Yeah,
movie that
man,
we
there
watched,
was.
I
Yeah.
should say. There is a vagabond right off the bat. Victor Shostrom plays a wandering stranger who comes to town.
And he introduces himself as Kari. We find out later that his name is Eyvind, which is the name of the actual person that it was based on.
Yeah,
And he is a runaway thief from the south. And initially, when he comes to town, everyone, kind of trusts him and sees him as a hardworking guy, and they send him to a woman named Hatla, uh,
yeah,
to work for her. But somebody recognizes him from the south of Iceland as a
yeah.
thief.
It is kind of crazy, I think, in this movie is that he is. It shows that he stole a sheep to feed his like starving family.
Yes.
That's his big crime, which is a very sort of Les Miserables esque, like the most well intentioned crime possible.
Yeah.
You know?
He stole the sheep from an asshole priest too.
Yes. Who's got tons of sheep. And he
Yes.
went and asked for, it's like, please, my family's starving. Can I have a sheep? And he's like, no. And so yeah, it's sort of he's thrown in jail. And what's wild though is that, so I mean, we're kind of skipping to like the second half of the movie here. Once it's like he's found out and he has to go on the run. He's living up in the him and Hatla are living up in the mountains. Um, but they like send a posse after him. They're like bloodlust, like trying to murder him. Like he's a thief.
Yeah.
We have to hang him or whatever. And it's like he stole a sheep. Like what? They're acting like
Yeah.
he's a serial killer, and they hate him so much for this crime of stealing a sheep that they're willing to risk their own lives and also try to murder him and Hatla over the fact that he is an escaped thief.
They do love sheep in Iceland, but I mean, considering that when I was there, they just kind of roamed all over the place and walked through the road. I don't know like how much a random sheep going missing is a big deal.
One fun detail of his escaping from jail, though, is that he escapes by pulling the bars off his window, just with his hands.
Yeah.
Because he's a strong, handsome boy.
I like how it doesn't remark on that Superman-esque feat.
No, it does mention like more than once that he's like, oh, he's like a strong lad. Like they do kind of talk him up as he's like a strapping fella, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's part of it, is that like, oh yeah, he's like works on a farm, he's strong, he can pull the bars off a window.
Off a jail cell.
I guess the bar for being an outlaw in 19th century Iceland was just a lot lower back then. There weren't enough crimes, so it's like you stole a sheep and suddenly you're public enemy number one.
Yeah, I mean, I can mention that I went to the Icelandic Museum of Witchcraft and Sorcery, and it was Iceland is the place where the most male witches were burned. But like they were serious about their like punitiveness. You know, they were like burning witches, kind of not just in like a bout in the 1600s. They were burning them like consistently for
Ooh,
centuries.
Yikes.
He wasn't a witch, but you know, he was a ne'er do well according to the
Yeah.
Icelandic authorities.
I mean, he stole a sheep. So we run off to the hills. There is like a fair amount of things that happen kind of in the village before this, but it's it's like they gets in a fight with the sheriff, and there's like he wants to marry Hatla, but she refuses. But then they run off into the hills as outlaws. 5 years pass of them living up in the mountains,
Yes.
and we sort of come back to them with a child. Um,
They're living
but
off
it
the
says
land. They're
uh,
happy.
it says there was a great desert in their souls, which I'm like, same.
Guess they're not that happy then.
Yeah, we see Chekhov's cliff, which is like there's a massive cliff right next to the house that they live on. I'm like, oof, that cliff though. Someone's going over that.
It turns out it's the worst possible answer to who goes over
Yeah,
that cliff.
which I also kind of assumed. A friend of theirs shows up, but kind of and is staying with them, but kind of starts lusting after Hadla, kind of looking down her shirt and shit like that, just being a real creep.
It's weird to have like a point of view cleavage shot in a movie like this, you know?
Yeah, but then the sheriff finds them, and a weird thing happens at this moment. So that like a posse shows up to presumably murder them, and Hadla, to I guess protect her child from the mob, throws them over the cliff. Which I don't really understand the logic behind. Of like, oh, you're gonna kill my kid, huh? Not if I do it first. And Ivan kills Bjorn and the sheriff in the ensuing fight. And so now they're childless and even have even more of a desert in their souls, presumably. And we kind of time jump again to them being old and gray and living in a little hut during a snowstorm and kind of bickering. They're now very bitter and childless.
Particularly bitter, maybe ambiently bitter because of the fact that they committed babyside, but but like particularly bitter because that you cut to them having been stuck inside, as fugitives from society, and have been 7 days without any food in the snowstorm.
Yeah, that'll do it for sure. Also, there is some really very effective, I think, but simple use of editing when we cut back to them in this section to when they were like young and happy, and we see them without all the old age makeup, and it's like just the contrast of that is so immediately kind of arresting and like, oh boy, the ravages of time, all that stuff, where it's like just that very simple sort of like cut back to earlier in the movie, just to kind of show the progression is really good.
His Shystrom's movies really seem to have like a life scale scope to them.
Yeah, they are very much about a life.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like a week or a night, or like the time frame. A lot of these other movies is very short comparatively.
Which, I mean, it's not Shystrom's movie, but I believe it was the last movie that he was ever in as an actor was Wild Strawberries, which kind of gets at similar themes of like a long-lived life.
Yeah, age, the ravages of time, all that stuff.
These people get ravaged by a snowstorm because they, after arguing and realizing that they're on the brink of death, Hatla suggests that they go out into the snow to die together because there's no way that they're going to survive. And Eyvind does not, like, kind of says no. He doesn't, he wants to keep trying. She has kind of made her decision, and so when he goes out to get some firewood, she steps outside and then kind of lays down in a snowbank and starts to die. She sees a vision of the dead child, and then Eyvind sees that she's missing, runs after her, and then dies with her. And there's a title card that says "Death forgave them."
Yeah, there's another title card that says "Love was their only law," which is a nice bit of a very poetic way to end the movie.
Love was their only law really sounds like a tagline to Bonnie and Clyde.
It sounds like the tagline to a kind of like slightly trashy like chase movie. One of the last shots of the movie is a shot of their frozen corpses facing each other, and it made me say "holy shit" out loud. I was like, "Damn, this is." I was like, "Holy shit, this is a very dark bummer ending."
Yeah.
Which I did not fully expect from this movie. This really, it goes hard, uh, in the
Yeah.
last like third of it.
It's a real tragedy. I mean, I think this movie was quite well put together.
Yeah,
I think that Sjöström's like a pretty good filmmaker, from what I've seen so far. It told this story very well. A lot of like twists and turns, and you know, you kind of felt like you were there with them.
yeah. I a couple of just like filmmaking things that stuck out to me is the editing. I think there was some really effective use of editing here, especially with like the non-linear stuff at the end of like
Hmm.
showing you the beginning again is always kind of an effective tool. And then also just like I think there was a lot of this in A Man There Was also of like just good uses of close-ups and like when to punch into like just a good kind of portrait shot,
Hmm.
which I think are well well shot in a way that I think a lot of other I don't know, just the use of kind of light and framing and things like that in this just feel
Yeah.
very
Very
uh,
dramatic light.
dramatic, just a bit more expressionistic
Hmm.
than a lot of the American movies that we've been watching.
Yeah, and I
So
think
that's
as
a
an
nice,
actor too, in those
yeah.
close-ups, he's really good at anguish. Sjöström, you
I mean,
know.
that's his kind of his main thing in both of these two movies that we've watched of his is
Yeah.
a lot of anguish, and so yeah, he gets it across very well. It's true, without like, it is definitely silent movie acting, but it is I think very good silent movie acting.